Hey everyone, today is April 15th, 2021, and today I'm going to do a trade recap video for you today, going over the personal trades that I've taken and also the trades that were stated on this morning's pre-market game plans. Now, yesterday, which was April 14th, I did not take a trade, but let me go over yesterday's pre-market game plans because one of the trades that were on yesterday's game plans actually ended up triggering the entry point today, and that was the one that I traded. So here is yesterday's game plans. There were two stocks on watch, MUDS, plby. I'll go over MUDS in a minute, but let's go over plby. This one was looking for a break over 39.88, and if that holds a support, I'm going to be a buyer for a target of 41.99, initial stop 38.20. So let's go to plby's chart here. This was yesterday's price action. So what we're looking for is a break over 39.88. It has to hold a support. Once that happens, sell near a target of 41.99. Now once the market opens, it drops and then goes sideways, and about this time right here, I'm done trading. I have an appointment I need to get to. I shut down my computer and then go about my day. But then later, it ends up triggering my alarm around 1 o'clock Eastern time, and it performs a really fast hard break above 39.88. So you could have played the breakout right here and not really wait for the pullback. If you bought the breakout, you could have sold near the target. Right here, it hits a high of 41.90, even though the target says 41.99. You don't have to sell exactly at the target. These target areas are more of a zone. So once it kind of gets in this area, that's the spot that you need to start thinking about selling, because it's not only the spot where the price may have trouble going up even further, but it's also going to be the spot that gives you a positive risk-to-reward ratio if you bought near the entry point and then placed a stop loss at the suggested stop price. All right, so if you missed this move, the pullback did eventually come right in through here. It's holding as support. Once it starts uptrending right in through this area, you could have bought and then continue to hold until it hits the target. And as you see, once it hits target, it completely tanks. All right, so that was plby. It was a great opportunity. I just happened to miss it because I was away from my computer and done trading. So now let's go over MUDS. Now this one was looking for a break over 13.85, hold a support. If that happens, look for a target of 14.39, stop loss 13.49. So let me go to MUDS. Let me go to yesterday's chart. So since this was a play from yesterday, we were looking for a break over this level, hold as support, and then if it holds, that's when we're going to buy. But once the market opens, it drops and then starts going sideways. So yesterday, this was a no trade because it never got to the entry spot. Now, a lot of times when the stock from the game plans does not trigger the entry price, I keep it on watch over the next few days just in case if the entry point does end up triggering. And that's what happened today. So today, the market opens and then it gets above the entry spot of 13.85. Now initially, we get the break. I don't jump in because it has to hold this area as support. It does not hold, it drops below, but I'm still continuing to watch it in case we get a move back up. So we get this strong move back up, and this is where I buy right here. So I'm in this at 13.99, looking for a target of 14.39. We get about halfway, hitting a high of 14.17 before starting to drop again. So as we're dropping into this area, I just go ahead and stop out. I did get in a little higher than I originally planned, so I had to stop out a little bit sooner than my initial stop loss. So I ended up stopping out at 13.60 for a loss. So once I stop out, this thing curls back around, and now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I got faked out right here. Let's see if it holds this level again. If it holds, which right here it looks like it is, I'm going to jump back in. So I jump back in at 13.98 and still continue to look for the target of 14.39. But this one just ends up grinding away, going completely sideways, not really taking any direction, faking me out in both directions. I mean, this one was a tough one. Price action just happened to turn into one of those instances where it's just chop city, and it's just so hard to predict which way it's going to go. So I think about right at this time right here, I just go ahead and cut the loss, and then I sell at 13.80. So it faked me out twice. Normally when a stock fakes you out twice, it's going to continue to fake you out because it's going to have that type of price action that is going to be hard to judge. So when a stock fakes me out twice, I'm not going to go in for a third time because I'm probably going to lose. Now looking in hindsight, if I would have bought and then kept the initial stop loss at, I believe it was 13.49, I would still be in this trade. But one of the methods that I personally like to do is raise my stop loss up along with the price action. So initially I start out with the stop loss that is specified, but I really use that just to calculate my position size. And then once we get some swing lows that develop, that's when I move my stop loss up. But the drawback to using that method is if you get caught in a stock that's very whippy or very choppy, then it's easy to get stopped out. And that's what happened to me today. I just kept getting stopped out on the stock, and it caused me to take 2 losses. All right, so at that point, I just decided to stop trading for the day and then come back fresh tomorrow. Now let's go over today's watch list. There was one stock on watch, BTN, and I missed this one. It was a good trade. It worked out. I just happened to miss it. So for this one, we were looking for it to break and hold 419. And then look for a target of 447, place a stop loss at 399. So let me go to BTN, and the reason why I missed this one is just because of how it opened. So about a couple minutes before the open, the entry point basically triggered. We got the break over this 419 level, comes down to hold as support, and then the very first minute that it opens, it just shoots up, and I missed my entry. Now normally I like to wait a few minutes for the market to open to let the price action shake out a little bit and then figure out a direction, but sometimes these stocks can open and they can just immediately shoot up, and at that point I basically already missed the opportunity. On this very first candle, I was thinking about getting in right here, but I can't do that because if I got in right here, let's look at the risk to reward ratio. If my reward is at 447 and then my stop is way down here at 399, then this isn't even a 1-to-1 risk-to-reward ratio. It carries more risk than the reward. So this is a very risky trade if you were to use that stop. So let's instead move the stop loss up. Let's move it to the session lows, which is below this candle right here. Let's look at the risk-to-reward here. It's still not even a 1-to-1. So this is still a risky trade. The only way that this would work is if you waited for the dip and bought a little lower. So that's what I was waiting for on here. I actually put a limit order near 425, hoping that we would get the dip, but it barely dips. It dips down to 429 and then goes on to hit target. Even though this trade worked, the timing was a little bit off and it was a little too fast for me to actually get a good entry. Now looking in hindsight, could I have bought the dip right here and sold at target? Sure. Could I have bought down here and then sold at target? Sure. But the majority of the time what I found is when the stock already hits the target and then starts making this downwards trend, as you see here we're making new session lows for the day, the majority of the time it continues that trend and never goes back up to hit target for the second time. So when a stock hits the target already, that's when I just move on to another stock. So those were the game plans for today and yesterday. Those were my personal trades. Hope you all learned something. Thank you so much for watching.